What's going on, you guys? It's Ryan coming at you today with a brand new video. And today, I don't like to talk about this subject too much because it's kind of delving into politics. But the Gateway Pundit put out a disgusting article today about what the United Methodist Church is presently pushing on their main website for all the Methodist churches. So we're going to look at that in a minute. Before that happens, make sure you hit the subscribe button and like this video. Really helps with the YouTube algorithms. And, there's a lot of censorship, a lot of things going on behind the scenes to bury videos of certain content. So please hit the subscribe and hit like because it really helps me to get these videos out. Not just for me, but for other content creators when you like their stuff as well. So, getting on to today's video. Here we have an article in the Gateway Pundit. The United Methodist Church promotes hateful propaganda, alleging Trump supporters are KKK Confederate supporting racists. How generalizing of you, United Methodist Church. I thought the church under Jesus, their mission was that all are welcome. But you have clearly delved into the realm of politics and have decided to generalize an entire voting bloc of this country and basically are saying they're not welcome in your church. The website umc.org is the main portal of practically all United Methodist churches today. This week they decided to promote disturbing and hateful propaganda against Trump supporters. The promoted content is just grotesque. Well, if we scroll down, they have a link, which I'm not going to click because they actually took the privilege of taking the link and putting it in their article, and I don't want to give their site clicks. Dismantling racism. And if you click on that link, this is what you get. So let's just briefly gloss over this and analyze it. Now remember, this is a church. This is an entire denomination, the Methodist Church, pushing this. This is a priority to them. Do's. Connect the dots. Preach, teach, and say clearly in your church that what is happening is rooted in systemic historical and institutional racism. This is not just political. Bull. It is absolutely political. And the fact that you had to put this in there shows that it's political. If it wasn't political, you wouldn't have to put that sentence in there. It is racial violence and racism is a sin against God. Yeah, and water is wet. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows more racism is bad. You know what else is bad? Generalizing people. Name the racism you see. Those who attacked the U.S. Capitol building and protested election results in other state capitals wore Nazi and Ku Klux Klan insignias, and they waved nooses and Confederate battle flags, all of which are long revealed symbols of white supremacy and racist violence. Learn that history. I was watching that whole thing that day. There was one moron with a Confederate flag. You know what else happens in the Democrat Party? You have idiots with Soviet Union flags and Chinese communist flags. Does that mean all Democrats are commies? No. You're generalizing. Communism is a belief that has killed millions of people, more than the Nazis. But that gets overlooked. But I see Antifa and BLM waving Soviet flags. BLM said they were proud Marxists. Does that mean all Democrats are communists? No. And not all Republicans and Trump supporters are racists or Confederates or Klan members. And may I remind you, the Ku Klux Klan was a group created by the Democrats. Learn that history, Methodist Church. This right here is one big generalization. That's a sin according to Christianity. There's other things in here. Develop a thicker skin. Well, you should take your own advice. Methodist Church. This is disgusting. None of this, and I'm not going to go through all of this, but none of this is stuff that should be being preached in a church. I was originally going to make this video about the New World Order and how it attempts to co-opt religion. This is an example right here. The Methodist Church has been co-opted by the globalist New World Order. A long time ago, Spirit gave me a message. And it was about politics and religion. There's always been, and I hear this from a lot of people, and I'm going to delve right into this. I hear from a lot of people who are into the spiritual life, how can this person be such a spiritual person and be a Republican? Or how can this person be so spiritual and be a Democrat? You want to know what Spirit actually thinks of this. You want to know what they told me, how they look at this whole subject. They don't care about politics. It doesn't matter to them. It's about what's in your heart. That's what they look at. The desire to do good in the world, the desire to serve God, to be spiritual. That's what they're looking at. They told me any energy can be involved in politics, but not any energy can work spiritually, because it takes a higher energy to do spiritual work. Anyone can do politics. And if you have the gift in your heart to work spiritually, then by God, that's what you should be doing. Spirit put those gifts in you for a reason. Preach from the pulpit. Make life better. But this is not it. This is not something that should be in a church. This is political. And this is what you're seeing right now with organized mainstream religion. You're seeing it go political. Why? Because the globalist New World Order is trying to co-opt religion to serve their needs. It's all building up to the one world religion, which I'm going to discuss that in a future video. But this is political. As Mark Taylor always says, in a lot of organized religion, you'll notice the political mirrors the spiritual. And that is a warning. You should not be generalizing people, especially politically. Earth is a school where you learn two things: emotions and limitations. through the theory of reincarnation, you have to experience everything. It's a school where you do not get to skip a grade, but you can repeat one as many times as it takes. And I got news for you. If you're watching this and you are a Democrat, or you are a Republican, if you are a Democrat right now, you are going to be a Republican in the future. Or you may have been one in a past life. And if you're a Republican, if you haven't been a Democrat in the past, you're going to be one in the future. Why? Because it's all experiences. You have to experience everything. You don't get to get out of it. So you're going to experience what it's like to be a Trump supporter, whether you want to or not. And you're going to experience what it's like to be a Biden supporter, whether you want to or not. At some point. That's life. That's how Spirit views this. They want you to take the gifts you have as a spiritual leader and give people the gift of salvation. What is the gift of salvation? The gift of salvation is knowing that you are loved by God, the person who created you. You are loved. There is life waiting for you after this life after death, and there is no judgment. That is the gift of salvation. And you know when you have it, because every single human being on this planet has an empty space in their heart. And it's a space that can only be filled by God, by Spirit. And too many people today try to put other things in that space. Maybe it's the drink, maybe it's money, false idols. But they're never happy. They're never happy because those things were not meant to be there. That place is only meant for God. Church is a place to inspire people, to rise up feelings, to bring people together. You don't need to talk about race in a church. You're not supposed to see race in a church. You're supposed to see God's children. We're all spiritual beings experiencing a physical life. You don't bring this up. That's my problem today with the churches. You got the Pope in Italy, in Rome, sounding like a Washington, D.C. politician. That's not being spiritual. If I can't tell the difference between you and a politician in Washington, D.C., there's a problem. And this is what you have going on here. This is not spiritual, to be talking about this in a church. And you should not be alienating 50% of this country, generalizing them as something. There is nothing religious or spiritual about that. That is condemnation that pushes people away. Your church has been co-opted, United Methodists. And let me tell you something. In your church, God's not there. God is not there. Not when you're preaching this. The world has enough problems today. Church should be a place where you get re-energized, where your batteries get recharged, where your spiritual muscles are built. This doesn't raise anybody. This demeans and diminishes all of us. There are other places where you can be talking about this, where you can be preaching about this kind of thing. Church is not one of them. As an upcoming minister, I would never talk about this subject in church. My focus on if I have to speak to people in a church setting, I try to lift people. I get very real with them. You know, things people are facing in their life. Freaking AVG. You know, health issues, financial issues, a child off course, problems in a marriage. Those are real. And there are godly answers to those things. But this is politics. And a lot of this stuff I can disseminate, break down, and say why it's BS. Especially this, white privilege. Don't even get me going on that. Anything you can say about white privilege, I can blow a million holes through. This is not church material. This is meant for one purpose and one purpose only, to divide. We are such a divided country. And now we're divided by God. I mean, where do we draw the line as a culture? It's got to stop. No. Shame on you, United Methodist. Your denomination is finished as far as I'm concerned. God's not there. God is everywhere, but he's not in the four walls of your churches. Because nothing is being preached there that's godly. That's today's video. I know this was very ranty, but I gotta point out, as a spiritual channel, I gotta point out things when I see them. And this really bothers me. So I think this is a good video to prepare for my next video on the New World Order. It's going to be kind of a longer video, but you know, I'm going to be approaching that from the aspect of religion, because there's a ton of videos you can watch on there about the New World Order. So, you know, we'll leave it to that. And until next time, guys.